Jungkook, I never said I was a criminal. Wine. You never said you weren't. He smirked, stepping closer towards her until she had to take steps back. She forgot that if he was a criminal, he could hurt her too. Wine swallowed hard as her back hit the wall. Jungkook stood just inches away. His presence was overwhelming. His dark eyes looked at her intensely. Wine. If you're not a criminal, then what are you? Jungkook exhaled slowly, tilting his head. Is it really that important right now? We could be caught any moment now. Wine's eyes widened as she remembered about them. Wine. Why are they even following you? Jungkook. I can't tell you much, but just know that I was betrayed in the most unexpected and horrible way, and they won't leave until they kill me. This is the best chance for them. They wouldn't give up, but so would I. He smirked and glanced towards the door. Jungkook, we don't have much time, because next time they won't knock. Fine looked at Jungkook and realized just how much danger she got herself into. Her heartbeat fastened. Fine. So what do you suggest? You staying here until I'm out of danger? Jungkook. Smart girl. Fine shook her head, pushing past him. Fine. Unbelievable. I don't even know you, and now I have to live my life with you because you collapsed at my feet? Jungkook watched her, his gaze softer for a moment. I know. I'm sorry. But I told you to let me leave at night. This wouldn't have happened if I just left quietly. She froze, her fingers tightening into fists. Fine. I know. I thought I wouldn't regret helping someone. And now she looked at her hands, disappointed. Jungkook held her shoulders and leaned down to look in her eyes. Jungkook, don't worry. I won't let anything happen to you. Why should I believe you? Who even are you? Normally, someone would ask this, but she looked in his eyes and couldn't speak anything because of the intensity with which he was looking at her. A silence stretched between them before Jungkook sighed. Jungkook, let's calm down. We will be fine. Fine turned to him, arms crossed. Until when exactly will it keep going? Jungkook hesitated. Until I'm sure that they won't ever come back here again. And fine. I swear if you say trust me, I might actually throw something at you. A small chuckle escaped him. Jungkook noted. Just don't worry. She groaned, rubbing her temples. Fine. This is insane. Absolutely insane. Still she moved, sat on the couch, putting her hands on her forehead. Meanwhile, Jungkook checked the windows and then looked at her. Fine. What? He didn't respond. He just kept looking at her. Fine. What now? She asked, annoyed. Jungkook, you know you complain too much in life. Try to relax sometime. Vine scoffed. Right now, I'm just trying my best to control my anger. Otherwise, I would. Jungkook, you would what? He said in a serious tone, coming closer to her. Vine narrowed her eyes, pressing herself deeper into the couch as Jungkook leaned in, his face inches from hers. Vine, I would I would throw something at you. Jungkook smirked, tilting his head. Oh, like what? Her eyes darted around the room, looking for a potential weapon. Her eyes landed on a cushion beside her, and she immediately hurled it at his face. Jungkook caught it midair, unimpressed. Really? A pillow? Vine barely had time to react before Jungkook snatched the pillow from her hands and tossed it aside like it was nothing. Before she could protest, he was suddenly there, too close, too warm, too intense. She gasped as her back pressed deeper into the couch, his arms on sides of her, caging her in. Jungkook leaned in, his lips barely a breath away from her ear. His voice, low and edged with something undeniably dangerous, sent a shiver down her spine when he said, "You like playing tough, don't you?" He murmured, his breath fanning against her skin. "Jungkook, you still remember that I'm somewhat close to a criminal, right? Don't get too close. You might regret it later." Her breath hitched, fingers curling into the fabric of his hoodie, as if her body betrayed her. "Fine. You wouldn't do anything to me," she said, trying to sound calm. "Jungkook, how are you so sure?" "Fine. I I mean, you haven't done anything until now." She gasped mid-sentence when he slid his hand to the back of her neck. Her eyes widened and got locked in his eyes. The tingling sensation was still there. After a few seconds, she threw his hand away, getting off the couch. Wan shouted, "Have you gone crazy? What are you doing?" Jungkook looked at her for a few seconds and then scoffed. "Jungkook, that's why I said you like playing tough." Wan froze. What what do you mean? Jungkook, this was the reaction that you should have had when I touched you. But you did nothing. You looked in my eyes and indirectly begged me to keep doing this. Wan scoffed. What the hell are you talking about? Jungkook, then why didn't you stop me when I was too close? Why didn't you refuse being touched? Fine. That, that's Jungkook. You don't really want me to stop, do you? You. She started, but her words faltered when he suddenly got close, tilting his head, his lips brushing the shell of her ear as he continued. Jungkook, you keep pushing me away, but every time I get closer, you forget how to breathe. Her chest rose and fell rapidly, her pulse hammering in her ears. Wine spoke. I mean, yeah, I found him handsome, but this is too much. Did I really like him to that extent? Jungkook pulled back just enough to look at her, his gaze dropping to her lips for half a second before returning to her eyes. Jungkook, you wouldn't mind if I kissed you, right? Wine gasped, a big gasp that literally held her breath. Wine spoke. I will never ever kiss him. No, I wanted someone handsome, working a 9 to 5, not so stiff. I gasped once again, because as I was thinking, he kissed me? Jungkook didn't give her time to process. His hands were already cupping the side of her face, his thumb brushing against her cheek. Vine's mind screamed at her to push him away, but her body, traitorous and weak, betrayed her. She froze as his lips hovered above hers, his breath warm against her skin. "You're thinking too much," he murmured between the kiss, making her breath hitch once again. At this point, she just wanted to give up on everything else and kiss him back. But before she could think, he closed the distance. Her fingers curled into his hoodie as his lips moved against hers. The moment she let out the tiniest sigh, he deepened the kiss. It was intense, like he was proving a point. He was showing her exactly what she had been denying. His hand slid to the back of her neck, pulling her closer until there was no space left between them. And she hated how her breath hitched when his tongue brushed against hers in a slow, deliberate stroke. Jungkook smirked against her lips, pulling away just enough to murmur, "You're not pushing me away." Vine finally snapped back to reality, gasping as she pushed him away, her hands pressing against his chest. "Fine. You, you kissed me? Jungkook just grinned, wiping the corner of his mouth with his thumb. Jungkook, no, sweetheart, you kissed me back. Her face burned. Fine. He leaned in again, his voice dropping into a whisper. Jungkook, want me to prove it once again? Fine let out a strangled noise and whirled around, storming toward the door. Fine. I just can't tolerate this man. I just can't believe what happened. I just, I need air. Lots of air. Preferably far away from you. Jungkook chuckled, watching her with dark amusement. Jungkook, run all you want, Wine, but next time you will be the one kissing me first. Wine. He's crazy. Completely crazy. Wine shouted while he laughed from behind.